Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so Laker trade is finalized, and I got some information, some details. I think it may change, could change, possibly, but these are the details that I have at the moment. Woo! I'm very happy the Lakers did this, by the way. This is a good trade. So we got the Utah Jazz getting Russell Westbrook at $47 million, of course, an expiring contract. He's expected to sign with the Clippers. He's going to get bought out right away. He'll be with the Clippers most likely. The let's see, you second year. What am I can't even read my own writing, but I know what this is. This is JTA. Also is going to the Utah Jazz for $1.8 million, an expiring contract. Of course, we got JTA in this trade, and Damian Jones is also in this trade, headed to Utah on a 2-year, $2.3 million contract. So that is some of the best news ever. Those were the players that needed to go. We got them out of here. So already I'm happy with this trade. Now, next up, D'Lo at 31 million, 31.4 million a year. Of course, we're getting D'Angelo Russell. Welcome back, D'Lo. Malik Beasley at $15.6 million on a 2-year deal. So we'll have Beasley for sure next season, as well as Jared Vanderbilt at $4.1 million on a 2-year deal, which is one of the best contracts probably in all of basketball. Like, the Lakers literally picked up Jared Vanderbilt on a 2-year deal with $4 million. It's absolutely insane. So, yeah, we're going to love defense now. Our team is different when you add these type of pieces. Different and better, a lot better. And, of course, the last part of this deal is Mike Conley at $22.7 million on a 2-year deal, headed up to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And from what I understand, they're getting 3 second-round picks and some cash considerations for that. Also, it must be said that our first rounder that we're sending out to Utah is lightly protected, which means that we did a good job on making sure that's not the most expensive pick in the world. You know what I mean? We have some right to that pick if for some reason some type of thing goes down. It is lightly protected. So I don't know what that actually means. Lightly protected, probably if it's between 1 and 3, you keep it or something like that. But I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm happy. We not only sent out Russell Westbrook at a discount, but we also brought back pieces that we absolutely needed, and some pieces that are legitimately desirable to have on prices that we can legitimately say are good, while simultaneously getting rid of players that we absolutely needed to get rid of. It's the best trade probably of the year. not only the best trade of the Lakers season, this might be the best trade of the year for the Lakers. In terms of what type of return they got, particularly how we've done. This is the best trade we've done, and this might be the best return that we could have asked for. I guess the best way to say it. Say it's the best trade of the year. That means everybody's happy, and I don't think everybody's happy. Utah, I think they did fine because what they ended up doing was getting Conley off their books. That 2-year, $22 million on their books was not for them. And they also were able to kind of move some more salary as well. Beasley wasn't necessarily a player that they needed with their timeline. And the fact that they have so many shooters on their team, he was just like an overload. That's not a great contract for them. And then Vanderbilt was a piece that they probably didn't want to get rid of at all. But they also have other players in his position that they're probably going to have not be able to really make the most out of him. And so he's the most desirable piece in all of this, the best deal in all of this, so to speak. And that's what you ultimately have to give up if you're the Utah Jazz, that you would rather not. So that's what you're eating right there. Plus, you're taking back some players that are not going to help you. JTA and Damian Jones ain't going to help Utah. So they understand that. And Damian Jones' contract is nothing to want. So Utah absorbed a lot here. For them, I know getting rid of Conley probably meant a lot to them. Getting some of the salary off the books, I'm sure, is a positive. But you would expect Utah, who they are, to take back a much better deal. But the fact that they got that first rounder from the Lakers, I'm sure they're very happy about. Even if it has some protection on it, that's what they're hoarding up there, and that's one of the most important picks in the world right now. So I could very easily see them flip that pick for something even better than what we got for it, believe it or not. But nevertheless, we're happy. We're very happy with that. And Minnesota, I'm going to be honest with you. Minnesota is just making all kinds of mistakes, man. They're making a lot of mistakes. Now, granted, for them, they're happy to move on from D'Lo at $31 million to get something for him. Meant a lot to them. Given their timeline, they didn't want him to just walk since they didn't have his money. They weren't going to pay him this. So to get off of him was a good thing, and it probably was going to be a salary dump more or less. Sort of like having Russell Westbrook in a way, because they're not going to get $31 million out of D'Lo based on their circumstance, and having him walk for nothing wasn't in their best interest. However, this is one of them situations where you have to ask yourself, is it really better than bringing back a guy who's extremely overpaid, that's probably not going to reach any upside, has no upside at all? That's my thing with Conley. It's like, can he help the Minnesota Timberwolves win? Not really. No. I mean, he's gonna be a nice steady piece for them. But with D'Lo going out and him coming in, he's a downgrade in my mind. I like D'Lo better. So Conley's a nice vet to have on their team. So I guess in theory, he's gonna bring some stability to their squad. So maybe from a situational and perspective, he might be a piece that they can see really slipping in. So from that perspective, maybe it works. Maybe it makes them more mature. Obviously, they needed some maturity in that locker room there from last year in the playoffs. So maybe that is the piece for them. I just haven't given it as much thought and don't really like his contract at all. But he's still a productive player. I'd imagine he's still going to be very productive next year too. So if push comes to shove, he's going to play well. It's just about, as I always say, what else can you do around him at that price? Not a whole lot. And given the fact that they're already logjammed with what they have going on, this wasn't a good decision. However, they're getting 3 second-round picks in the situation, and if they do well with those picks, or they reflip those picks for something that makes a little more sense for them, maybe they can be happy with what they have here. Because the Lakers are struck it rich with second-round picks, so I can imagine if they know what they're doing, they can too. But that Conley contract ain't nothing to have, man. It ain't nothing to have. And given what they're taking back, I don't know that I wouldn't just rather have the cap space next summer. But given the fact that it's Minnesota and it's hard to get free agents and there are not really a lot of good free agents out there, maybe they probably would have just tried to trade for a guy like Mike Conley anyway. But, for me, if I'm a Minnesota fan, I'm just miserable, man. I ain't a whole lot to enjoy over there. But, because at the end of the day, if you're trying to move on from D'Angelo Russell, he would have came off your books anyway. So it's not like you're worried about having to pay him $31 million ever again. So I think this is one of those things where I'm just gonna say this. They're misevaluating talent up there, man. just severely misevaluating talent. And that's just kind of how I look at this. Is a situation where they're taking back Mike Conley. That's possibly a piece they could have gotten back in the deal that they made with the Utah Jazz initially, for that matter. Maybe they were already talking about getting that piece in that deal and just didn't get around to it. Maybe they had their eyes on Mike Conley the whole time. So, if I'm looking at Mike Conley as a player who's going to come in and help those young players get over the hump and be a real legitimate playoff team, maybe I make another move after this, depending on what I can do with Minnesota. Maybe I'm reimagining some things up there. I like that from a stability standpoint. But, you're more stable. And I guess you can say that Rudy Gobert, Mike Conley have a synergy about them that has already been proven in the playoffs. So you like the idea of that synergy if you're Minnesota, bringing those two back together. So I just think that's kind of what it is they're doing. They're just kind of just doing the best they can, evaluating talent the way they do, and I just don't agree with it. I just don't agree with it. But more power to them. So Utah just did everybody a favor. I think this is one of them situations. This is just my thought. I don't know any tea leaf that's reading this way. But I think the Utah Jazz, since they did that Gobert trade, has kind of been willing to kind of give back to the market since they know they did so bad to us, I guess. So the last, like the Donovan Mitchell trade, I thought they took back less than they could have for Donovan. I think they could have got more for Donovan. And I do think they could have got more for honestly, I guess if you're looking at Mike Conley's contract as a dumped contract, you're happy to get it out of here. And for them, they're bringing back a $47 million expiring, so they sort of look at Russell Westbrook as something that's a non-factor. They're about to buy that out right away. So the only real hit you're taking if you don't mind the buyout, and I don't know the framework on a buyout and what that's going to cost you, so I just don't. I'm ignorant to that. But you handle that, absorb whatever that costs, and then the only thing that you're really worried about after that is Damian Jones, who's not even eating up most of your cap. He's only $2 million worth of your cap. He doesn't hurt you at all. You could just hold on to him for nothing. It doesn't bother you. Um, and JTA is it doesn't even eat your cap. $1.8 million, nothing there. So they've gotten a lot of they've put themselves in a position to have a whole lot of money this summer coming up. Whole lot of money. And the Lakers, you're really happy because you lost your first round pick, but it's slightly protected. You're bringing back Malik Beasley on a 2-year deal at $15 million, which would be considered a hit in theory, except for you don't have any shooting. So if anybody can be very happy with that contract in the entire NBA, it's definitely us. It's like most teams like, Malik Beasley a shooter, $15 million a year. I don't want to catch that. But for 2 years, I mean, we could very easily see him coming off the books next season, and we're gonna want him all through the season because he's a shooter, and we don't have him. Well, we got him now with D'Lo, but this is one of those situations where we double down on even more shooting, and of course, without shooting, you want more than one shooter. So, you got pieces that you needed on short year deals that you can renegotiate rather quickly. And Vanderbilt, you understand next summer, next trade deadline, there's going to be like a high demand for that player because on a expiring contract at $4 million, like I said, that's one of the best contracts I can think of. However, there's no way in hell, if all things remain equal, I'm going to encourage the Lakers to trade that piece at all. But one thing I do know is if all things stay the way they are, he is definitely going to make a lot of money come free agency next summer. Or whatever that would be. The summer after that, 2 years from now, whatever it be. When it's time for him to get paid, you can expect for the Lakers to have to pony up some real money. Because it ain't going to be long before he's going to want an extension. And that's another thing. If I'm Vanderbilt, he may even want an extension sooner than that. Given how well he plays, what he's about to mean to our team, and what ultimately his timeline is, which is a young player like 24 years of age. Something like that, 23. I'm ecstatic. What can I say, man? Even though we missed out on Kyrie Irving, I still see a pick left over that we can do something with. I see $31 million coming off of the books still. You know what I mean? With D'Lo coming off the books right here. So it's not like we're still in a position to where we're taking back all that salary on multiple years. Only a very small portion of it, and the portion that you would have otherwise wanted to pay anyway next season. So this is great. This is great in the theory that as long as we don't hate Malik Beasley's $15 million on our salary, which I really don't. I mean, I really, really don't. I would love for him to be at a little less, but I don't think it's going to move the needle very much. You just probably pay somebody else a couple extra $1 million, got the same damn team. So this is a situation where his contract fits very well. Now, I don't know if it hits us in a way that messes up what we were planning on doing based on the very specific number we were trying to keep open. But again, it's like whatever you're about to build, if you don't get yourself some serious shooting, which this ultimately represents, then you're still not going to be as good. So I'm very happy, man. We haven't given up anything we otherwise didn't want to give up, which means we can go ahead and make another trade with the other first rounder, with the other expiring contracts, which are still on tab, and it's a lot of them. We can make another big deal, if we really want to. Because I don't know if we gave up all our second round picks, but we still got that first. And we still got them expiring contracts of Patrick Beverly, of course, Lonnie Walker, Troy Brown, Thomas Bryant, I believe. I don't think Troy Brown is. And of course, Austin Reeves. So all of that, if you package all of that together, not to say that I want to because I don't, but if I were to package all that together, that's valuable in this league. That is a valuable thing. If you take all that good stuff and package it together, you can bring back something. You should be able to get something. I don't know if you're going to win every trade bid with that package, but you're going to land somebody tomorrow if you take that package and send it out. Say, this is what I got. Give me something I can use. You're going to get something. Now, I would try to keep somebody out of that. You know, you want some players you want to resign. I mean, that's a nice youthful core of role players that shouldn't necessarily just be shopped to at cost value. You like what they are. You know what I mean? Some of that stuff don't need to be pushed out, but some of these players aren't going to be resigned even if we like them, as we've already discussed a million times. So We've let Malik Monk walk. We've let Caruso walk. We've had these trade deadlines where we let these players leave. And we got to correlate that to why we had JTA, Kendrick Nunn, and Damian Jones in the first place. It's why we got that level of talent in the first place. It's because we weren't allowing value to stay in-house, doing stuff like the Timberwolves doing right here. So, oh man, I'm very happy with the Lakers getting Jared Vanderbilt and D'Lo back, man. D'Lo is a clutch player who's going to help us win close games, which is literally all I've ever asked the Lakers to do. Now, we are losing Russell Westbrook, so we're going to need to understand something right here and now. Russell Westbrook was a player who gave us a lot of meat and potato stuff, and we did not function well when he did not play. He was strong. He drove at the basket repeatedly. And even though he didn't always get his calls, we could count on him to be active and keep energy on our roster at all times. We don't have it no more. The energy guy is now going to be Vanderbilt and some of the other players that we often don't play, like Wenyen Gabriel. We're going to need to manufacture energy. And an older guy like LeBron James is going to do it on some nights, but there are going to be those nights where it's not there. And Russell Westbrook never had that problem, and he was always there because he rarely missed games. We're going to have to understand, we've officially become a team that lacks energy. Literally. We don't have that little engine that's always running around doing all kinds of stuff that makes all of his bad stuff glare, but all the good stuff that he does, it's often overlooked. You're going to miss some of that good stuff now. D'Lo don't do none of that. It's an entirely different piece. And even though he's going to help us in different ways, that is missing. That drawing attention piece. It's a lot of stuff that you're going to lose without him. Strength, in the paint when you're trying to guard bigger players, we mentioned often. Rebounding, just a automatic, basically a power forward's like rebounding load that comes from your point guard. And in a center's interior scoring load that comes from your point guard, like that stuff is not. We gave away the sixth man of the year, which means he made up a big part of what we did. And all things considered, I still think he'll be sixth man if he lands on the Clippers and continues to come off the bench, which he shouldn't have to, given the fact they're probably shopping John Wall. But nevertheless, this is a situation where I'm like, I ain't gonna miss Russell Westbrook. I might make an entirely different video sending him a proper send-off, and I'll do that in a different time, in a different mindset. But I'm not going to miss him on the basketball court, man, but I am going to understand that we as a unit will miss him on the basketball court. We're going to miss all of the things that he does. Assists, all of that. So we're going to need players to do it. And it's of course, our team isn't fully imagined until we finish making trades. And we're in a strange spot where if we stop making trades right now, we're still an incomplete basketball team, believe it or not. But we can move forward and feel great because we've gotten rid of some trash, but there's still some things we can do to make our roster make sense, including getting rid of some of these little guards. Especially since we got D'Lo in place now, it really doesn't make sense to have some of them dudes because he's going to eat up most of those minutes as to where it's a little iffy if Schroeder and Beverly are going to eat each other's minutes. D'Lo's going to eat both of their minutes for sure, so which is something we're very much excited about here. But because D'Lo can play the two, Coach may still want to do some small ball stuff with D'Lo, and that's going to make us really bad defensively because he is not great defensively, as we know. Even though he does have fantastic hands defensively, can get steals and passing lanes and snatch the ball from people as they dribble in front of him. But that doesn't equate to him being a fantastic defender, unfortunately. He'll just get steals. So, I can't wait for his dribble off the dribble ability because nobody on our team can come off the dribble and shoot. Like he can in any way, shape, or form. He's going to be able to show us that set shot that is just, that's something you can't teach. His skill level, his ability is God-given. So I haven't forgotten exactly who we're inheriting in regards to D'Lo. And we should be extremely excited about his skill set coming to our team. We should be. It's our kid. We drafted him, so we definitely know who he is, but it's been a long time since he's been here, so I'm curious to see if he's going to come back and have that same energy. I'm curious to see who he's become since, you know what I mean? And hopefully he's turned into the type of basketball player that can help us win these close games that we suck at and hit some of these 3-point shots that we need to hit. 3-point, we need to reimagine our 3-point discipline. I don't think it makes as much sense to shoot less threes, obviously, now that we can carry it to two real shooters. So maybe we do want to up our 3-point shooting up to 40 a game. Maybe we even would shoot it higher when you consider that Malik Beasley can take 5 a game and D'Angelo Russell could probably take 5 a game. So there's certain things about our team that's going to have to be reimagined, and we're going to go through a process. We're going to struggle since we're bringing in all these new pieces. But we will be better when they land on their feet. And there are certain things that are about this roster that's just going to give LeBron and AD a breath of fresh air. Russell is gone, okay? And that is a bigger part of this equation than we really have given credit in these minutes that we've been talking. Because now you can see the things that he didn't do well also exiting your franchise. And some of the ways that he rubbed off on others and some of the ways it was hard to communicate, it seemed, all of that's gone. Bron should be able to settle into controlling the ball a bit more and not have anybody second guessing him or not wanting to pass him the ball or, weird energy or whatever it was that I was sensing down there that wasn't all that great. So I think this is going to be great for our team, making a trade like this, getting certain guys out, bringing certain guys in that can do specific things that ultimately this team is ultimately always needed. So, man, so what we want to see, man. I'm very curious to see what the Lakers are going to do next. Maybe a Gary Trent, something like that. Maybe a Bones Highland. I would love to see us do something like that, man. Get us another set of talented players in a trade for that pick, if that's what we're going to do. But, Rob is gaining some trust here, man. This is the type of competent decision-making we would ultimately want to see with our assets. Only time will tell who that pick will turn out to be, but we'll always understand our circumstances as we look back on it, and we'll also understand that it made sense to do this for this roster. It gave us an opportunity to complete the LeBron James season and give him something that would at least satisfy him that we tried. And that's ultimately anybody's ever going to want from us. Whether or not we capture the championship or not, that's on him. Truly, that's on him. But did Jeannie mortgage the pick so that she can say that she tried to make him happy when it was all said and done? One of them picks is gone. One of the picks is gone, man. So I don't want to hear nothing else about that. She did mortgage one of those picks for LeBron James in a season where he went and gave her the benefit of the doubt and gave her leverage by signing the extension early and locking himself in. Everything that led up to this, it looked like it was going to be one way or another. But she signed off. The pick is out the door. Russell Westbrook is out the door. JTA and Damian Jones are all out the door. Kendrick Nunn is gone. And we've brought in some real enforcements shooting the ball. Welcome to the Lakers. Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, D'Angelo Russell. Very, very happy to have y'all as a Laker fan. Obviously, Mike Conley's headed up to Minnesota, as we've spoken on. Good luck, Minnesota. I'm just hopeful that my assessment of your talent is completely and utterly wrong. That's what I hope for you guys. And the Utah Jazz, man, I just want to thank the Utah Jazz for giving us a solid deal. For not making it so that we further lock up the market for the trade deadline with something that's impossible. I felt like the Lakers signed off on a fair deal. All things that I understand about the pieces going in and out, as I've assessed them, it seems like the Lakers walked away feeling good about themselves. The loser in this trade is the Minnesota Timberwolves, depending on how much cash and second-round pick equity is headed back their way. But to me, it looked like they were losers. Yeah, they were losers. But for what it is they want to do, which is bring in a point guard that's going to last past this upcoming, summer, so they don't have to negotiate with anybody. They don't have to worry about trying to get a free agent or nothing like that. They can keep somebody in line with Rudy Gobert and of course Karl Towns when he comes back from injury. And so they have some pieces that look good. It's just one of those situations where I am a firm believer that if Mike Conley doesn't necessarily lead them to the heights that they're trying to reach with his piece, there's a chance they could get him for like a fifth of the price 2 years from now. Now, what does that do between now and then? I don't know. Nothing, probably. It probably doesn't do you no good if you need him now, but it's just how you assess the players. Like, you'll pay $22 million for Mike Conley now, or maybe $40 million for him 2 years from now. And so, I don't know. Maybe I don't have the right way of looking at that. Whatever. But for me, I would have passed on this deal for them. But I'm glad they didn't. As a Laker fan, I'm certainly glad they didn't, man. And so we'll take on D'Angelo Russell's expiring contract with a smile on our face. So you found a perfect landing spot for him, and I think most people would agree that's probably the only deal they probably could have got for him. So I'm glad Rob made sure we won that one, and let's see what else he does, man. We're winning. If you ask me, the Lakers win the trade deadline. Call me crazy, but we are. We sending out stuff that we didn't want, and maybe a pick that we were reluctant to send out, and then brought back a fleet of players, along with Kendrick Nunn and some second-round picks that we didn't care about, and brought back Hachimura. So, when you look at the upgrades this team has made, they're substantial. I know we sent that pick out, and it is definitely reflected in this roster right now when you look at that bench and you see how much better we look today. So, thank you, Jeannie. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Knights of the Round Table, for signing off on something that really should make everyone in Lakerland that much better, feel that much better about where we're headed. There's still more work to do. I'm not 100% sold on our play style, but at least you won't hear me complaining about the fact that we have picks that we didn't use to get Bron some help to end the season. So you did your part, folks. You did your part. I'm happy. This trade is, in fact, finalized from what I understand. It maybe some other stuff get added to it or subtracted from it. That's always a possibility. But as far as I can tell, the Lakers got plenty of stuff left to trade, and that is the most important thing. We got back plenty, but we got plenty left. BDO 44. Thank you all for watching.